You may find yourself in a phase of life where everything seems to have suddenly changed. The people who used to be by your side, the friends who once stood by you in good and bad times, now seem distant, unreachable. Those who were once your confidants, the ones you would turn to for advice, to share secrets and discuss your dreams, now seem to have disappeared. If this is where you find yourself right now, it is essential to understand that often God allows these moments of isolation and solitude before bringing about the breakthrough He is preparing for you. Although it may be painful, difficult to accept or comprehend, believe that there is a purpose behind this period of separation. God is working on something extraordinary, something that can only be revealed when you are ready to receive it. This time of isolation is not in vain. It is being used to prepare you for a new and grand chapter in your life. When God begins to isolate you, it may feel as though the ground beneath your feet is shifting, as though the very foundation you once relied on for comfort and security is crumbling away. The certainties that used to sustain your walk have dissipated, and suddenly, you find yourself in unknown, uncertain, and lonely territory. But don't let the confusion of this season make you lose sight of what God is doing. It's easy, during these moments of silence and solitude, to doubt, to question, and even to grow weary. However, it's crucial to remember that this isolation is not a punishment, but a preparation. God is quieting the noise around you, so that you can finally hear His voice clearly. He is removing distractions and external influences, not to harm you, but to mold you according to His plans. When you are alone with God, without the voices of the world competing for your attention, He begins to reveal things about you that perhaps you had never noticed before. He exposes hidden weaknesses, deep fears, and areas of your life that need transformation. Sometimes, God needs to isolate us to recalibrate our perspective, because over time, prolonged exposure to certain environments can distort our view of who we truly are. We start to see ourselves through the eyes of those around us, allowing the expectations of others to shape our identity. However, in isolation, God breaks those bonds, shatters those illusions, and reintroduces us to ourselves as He sees us, without masks, without pretense, without the burdens of others' expectations. Consider the story of Jacob, who wrestled with God alone, in the dark, through the night. It was in that moment of isolation that God changed Jacob's name to Israel, giving him a new identity, a new purpose. This crucial event in Jacob's life didn't happen in the presence of a crowd, but in the silence of solitude, far from everyone, in the midst of a personal and spiritual struggle. What if your isolation is something similar? What if God is wrestling with you, transforming your name, changing your identity to prepare you for the promise He has for your future? Isolation can be painful, but it is also a place of profound transformation and divine revelation. Isolation is not just a time of passive waiting. On the contrary, it is a moment of divine modification, where God is realigning your heart with His own. In this process, He recalibrates your desires, motivations, and even your worldview. What you thought you wanted 6 months ago, or even a year ago, may no longer be what you will desire when you emerge from this period of isolation. God is removing desires that were born out of fear and insecurity, replacing them with kingdom desires, desires that are in alignment with His purpose for your life. The journey you are on is not about chasing things that the world deems valuable, but about discovering what truly matters in the eyes of God. Something incredibly powerful is happening in isolation, something that many fail to see. This is the moment when God is building your spiritual authority. True spiritual authority is not forged under the spotlight, in moments of great visibility and acclaim. It is born in hidden places, far from the eyes of the world, in battles fought in prayer, and in the silent nights of seeking answers. It is in isolation that you learn to stand firm, even when no one is watching, when there are no applause or recognition. It is there that you develop the spiritual strength that will allow you to withstand the pressures that will come with the breakthrough God is preparing for you. Look at Moses, who spent a long period of isolation before leading the Israelites out of Egypt. It was in that solitary place, in the wilderness, that God shaped a leader who could stand before Pharaoh and proclaim, "Let my people go." The authority that Moses carried wasn't formed in the comfort of the palace, but forged in isolation and dependence on God. This brings us to a fundamental truth. Isolation often precedes elevation. Before God elevates you to new heights, He separates you to prepare you for the weight of the blessings to come. Isolation is not a prison, though it may sometimes feel like one. In reality, it is a foundation, a cornerstone upon which God is building something deep and lasting in your life. It is in this place of solitude that He performs His deepest work. When we are surrounded by the noise of daily life, the demands, the voices, and the expectations of others, it's easy to lose sensitivity to the gentle voice of the Holy Spirit. But in the silence, in the quietness of isolation, God speaks in an intimate and revealing way. He uses this moment to heal old wounds, confront hidden fears, and purify our intentions, cleansing everything that is not aligned with His purpose. Some of the greatest revelations of your life will come when you are alone with God. It is in this space of silence that He can speak clearly, reveal His plans, and bring forth truths that perhaps would never have been perceived amid the busyness and distraction. Do not resist the silence. Embrace it. Don't view isolation as empty, but as an opportunity to deepen your intimacy with God. Every moment of quiet is an invitation for a closer relationship with the Creator. What you see as a period of barren waiting may actually be the fertile soil where God is planting seeds of revelations and transformations that will change your life forever. At times, God allows certain relationships to be cut off or distanced, not because those people were necessarily bad or harmful, but because they are no longer part of the path He is charting for you. There are moments when God removes people who, unknowingly, are holding you back from moving forward into your destiny. Initially, this can be confusing and painful, but over time, you will realize that God was pruning your life, cutting away what was no longer productive, to make room for something new and fruitful. The pain of loss can be overwhelming, but remember that God is not subtracting. He is preparing the ground to multiply His blessings in ways you could never have imagined. This period of isolation is not just a waiting time for the breakthrough. It is a time of transformation. God is shaping you, refining you, preparing you from the inside out. The person you were before this process will not be the same person who steps into the new season of breakthrough. You are being shaped like gold in the fire, being purified and transformed. So, don't resist the process. Allow God to do His complete work in you. Though the isolation may feel like a prison, in reality, it is a place of freedom. During this period, God is breaking chains that have held you captive for too long, removing fears, doubts, and insecurities. He is setting you free from the opinions of others, from the need for external validation, from anything that has been keeping you from walking fully in the calling He has for your life. When the breakthrough finally comes, and it will come, you will emerge from this period of isolation with new confidence, new boldness, and renewed faith. The isolation is breaking the old you and birthing a new version of yourself, stronger, more focused, more aligned with the divine purpose. Let's go beyond the surface of isolation and dive into its spiritual richness. What if I told you that God isolates you because He is about to reveal secrets that only He could share with you in silence? In the Bible, it is written in Psalm 25 verse 14, "The secret of the Lord is with those who fear Him." There are divine revelations, mysteries of the kingdom that God does not release in the crowd, but waits until you are alone with Him, when He has your full attention, to whisper the plans and projects of your life.